What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Menace Performance. Today we're going to be doing a little relocation DIY for the power steering reservoir as well as the coolant reservoir. Moving the power steering back a bit so then you can move the coolant reservoir from here over to there, and then your turbo will be able to fit there. This is pretty much a full DIY on this one. Very simple, very easy. I think anyone could do this themselves. So I'll just show you how I did it. Everyone's setup is going to be a little different, but the base concept of it and how it's set up is pretty much going to be the same across the board. So you can obviously take my idea, modify it, make it your own, how it's going to work with your setup. But I'm just going to show you how it worked for my setup and what I did. All right, so I'm not going to get too much into the logistics of routing the hoses and the wiring for it, but pretty much you just normally have this hose down here, and then you just have to cut this little clamp off, and then just use some more hosing and extend it out so it can run through, and then route it through here and then up to there where this little paper towel is in, and then we'll plug in there. And then as far as the wiring, is actually kind of funny. I literally just went to grab it, and then these wires are so brittle that it just snapped off. But anyways, you would normally splice this here and then just get like the similar same gauge wire, and then run it, make sure it's long enough so you can run it through here, and then run it along all the way down to where the harness is for the headlight. And then I would just kind of tape it up and run it down under there, and then it'll be able to plug in. And then as far as this one, that port just connects to this pipe right here. So once you have that in, that'll be all good. As far as the bracket and everything for getting this to sit solid like this, all I did was get some 1/8 inch thick, 3/4 inch wide aluminum flat bar, and then just cut it to how I needed it. And this one I kept flat. It was fine how it was. And then this is actually a stock bolt location right here. So I was able to just bolt it in like that. And then on this one, there's just a nut underneath it. And I actually used the little nuts from the power steering pump. They fit perfectly on the coolant reservoir bolts for that. So I used those. And then as far as this one, you have this little bracket here that it just looks like it holds like the AC line in place. And then pretty much I just took the aluminum pry bar with like a big pliers and literally just stepped on it with my shoe, and I didn't even use a vise or anything, so anyone could do this. And I just kind of put like a little curve on it, almost like a little S shape, and then I have it bolted in like that, nut on the bottom of there, and then that sits under here, same thing, bolt with nut on the bottom of there, and it is actually really solid. The only thing is this coolant hose plugs into this pipe down here and it runs along there. You're just gonna have to tuck it out of the way. Then once you get that plugged in, that can kind of be wherever. It doesn't matter as long as you get that bottom one plugged into the reservoir first. And then as far as the coolant or the power steering reservoir goes, I actually took this bracket here that normally sits here that you do have to remove this to put this here. It's two 10 mils down there. There's two studs, and then it bolts in right there as well. And then that kind of just sits like that and then goes across to there. And then I ended up just cutting it and basically cutting the top part off where the bracket is, where the power steering reservoir normally sits. And then I just bent this up a bit because this was kind of flush flat with it, and just bent it up because this is kind of at an angle. Drilled a hole through this little body part, and then sent a nut and bolt through here. And then I just kind of had it sit on this, and it is really sturdy. It doesn't move. And then you can just actually use, I haven't gotten the hoses yet. It's like almost midnight right now, so Home Depot's not open, but essentially these hoses, you just extend them a bit, and then they would run underneath the charge pipe, and then they would come up here, and then you could just have your power steering pump kind of, I know, sit up there like that, And then that's going to be out of the way of everything as well, since your manifold's going to be over here and whatnot. And then your coolant reservoir should clear everything else as well. So that's pretty much it for how I had it set up. I haven't seen anybody do this yet with it, which I thought was pretty smart, since you literally already have the parts at your disposal. You don't need to make anything. But if for some reason, say so this piece wasn't in the car already, I kind of made a DIY with the aluminum flat bar on how you could kind of make a bracket for this, and I'll go show you that now. So essentially, I just took two pieces of basically equal length aluminum flat bar, and I bent one almost like a little hockey stick. And essentially, if you didn't have that bracket for some reason in your car, what you could do is make something like this. You can see these markings are for the holes for the power steering reservoir. And then basically you would just drill through the top up here, and then where my thumb is, and then put a nut and bolt through it. And then this would be able to essentially bolt up where that is. And then the power steering reservoir could kind of sit on it like that. And obviously that would be bolted up to there with the hole through there. And then you just send a nut and bolt through it like that. And then same thing with here. You just need to get long enough bolts and nuts to send through so it could sit through there. And then basically that would just bolt up and sit. Oh, you get the point. Basically bolt up and sit right there. That was kind of my only other DIY idea. If you didn't happen to have that bracket, because I've seen some people on their cars, they aren't in their cars and they're not single turboed or have relocated. So I don't know if it's just a thing that people take out. I would assume that all of E90Xs have them. I could be wrong, but if you don't, I'm not sure if all of them do or not, but if you don't, this I think would be a good little DIY to solve that problem if you don't have that. Well, that's pretty much it for this one, guys. I also did just get the On3 Performance 7-inch intercooler. It's fucking massive. Pretty hyped for that. So that should be getting put in this weekend as well. So we're gonna have another video on that. I just got a really good deal for like 170 bucks, I think. I got the BMP Fuel It Stage 2 Walboro 450 upgraded low pressure fuel pump. So we're going to do a video on that as well. So stay tuned for those two upcoming. And then I also have a few things for my M3 that I'm going to be putting on soon as well. So once those arrive, we're going to get some M3 content rolling. But until then, just going to be sticking to this for now. Once that M3 stuff gets in, we'll be able to get rolling on that. But otherwise, appreciate you guys watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share with the homie. And as always, take it easy, y'all.